And for the ones that don't know me, I'm Nathalie, and you would have already spotted from my accent, I'm not originally from London, I'm French. I moved here 13 years ago, I fell in love with the city and never left. Super, let's go. I'm gonna flip the camera around. So we are in the city of Westminster. It's quite easy to see because of those pillars. And some of you might wonder why we have the Coco Chanel logo on the pillars. It is actually, there's a very romantic little legend. It's not actually true, I'm afraid. But the Duke of Westminster, Grosvenor, he had an affair with Coco Chanel. They were never married. Well, he was married, but not to her. And that lasted for 10 years. And suddenly, on the pillars of Westminster, we suddenly have this double C. So a lot of people believed that it was a little souvenir, a little memory of their affair. But apparently it is not true. The double C stands for City Council. So W here, Westminster City Council. But I like the little legend. It's a nice little romantic story, and they really had an affair, so it would have been possible. Talking about the Duke of Westminster, I'm gonna cross over the street to show you the first Earl of Westminster. So the Duke of Westminster, it's the Grosvenor family. It's one of the richest family in the world. The actual Duke nowadays, he is a catch. Now that Prince Harry and William are taken, if you want a rich bachelor, a single man, you want to go for the Duke of Westminster. His name is Hugh Grosvenor, and he is 30. He's the richest, well, I think he's turning 31 now, but he's the richest person in the world to be under the age of 30. And this would have been one of his ancestors. This is the first Marquis of Westminster. And this is the armories of the Grosvenor family. The Grosvenor family, they've been rich forever. They date back to William the Conqueror. Apparently, when William the Conqueror came along in 1066, he would have come with a lot of nobles, and he would have appointed some of his friends or relatives to secure the borders. And if you look here on I don't know if you can see very well, on the plaque here on the stone, it says Chester, 197 miles. That is because William the Conqueror, he appointed one of his cousins. His name was Gilbert le Grosvenor. Gilbert le Grosvenor was a cousin of William the Conqueror, and he appointed them to mind the border with Wales. So that's why they had a place in Chester. They were making sure that the Wales border was not, that those people were not going to come and invade. So they've been extremely rich for centuries. And nowadays, they're still a massive landowner. Oh, by the way, on the armories here, the dogs, they are Talbot dogs. The breed is extinct now. They've been imported by the Normans as hunting dogs, but they no longer exist, unfortunately. Le Grosvenor, apparently it is Old French for hunting chief. So Venor was apparently for hunting. Cool, let's go. So talking about the Grosvenor family, all those lovely properties here, the property might belong to them, but the land doesn't. Most of Westminster, it's what we call leasehold. If you buy a property in London, you might buy a freehold. So if you have a freehold, the land as well as the house belong to you. If you buy a leasehold, you might have 90 years, you might have 900 years, but the land doesn't belong to you. So most of the land here in Westminster actually belong to the Grosvenor family. Hugh Grosvenor, his fortune is estimated at 10 billions. Well, I say his fortune, it's not really his money as such. The money is into trust and the Grosvenor group. This way they don't have to pay taxes for inheritance. But it is still a very, very wealthy bachelor. And they do care about their reputation very much. They've given, through the COVID period, they've given 12 million to the national health system. Cool. So we've taken a turn here on one of those little mews. Mews literally means stable street. So those streets would have been stables back in the days, and now they've been refurbished into lovely little flats, and we're going to see a pub. Look at this with the covered street. It's really nice. It is actually a private use, I believe, so I hope I'm not going to be kicked out. But yeah, very, very cute. It's a very expensive area. Pretty unaffordable to live here. And we can already see the pub at the back. The pub is called the Grenadier. It's a very famous pub. It's one of those little boozers that you go once, you love it, but then you're never able to find them again because it's very, very hidden. Apparently, they've had quite a few celebrities coming there, like Madonna, Prince William, but it is most famous because of the ghost. The pub, the building itself, it dates back to 1720. Sorry, it's a bit noisy here. They're doing some work. And what happened, so it is called the Grenadier after the Grenadier Guards, the military that guards the royal household. But the guards, the Queen's Guard, the one you see with the red tunic and the big hats, they are real militaries. So they would go to war as well. And the Duke of Wellington, apparently, he had some barracks around here. Before, nowadays, the Wellington barracks, they are by Buckingham Palace. Apologies, there's a bit of noise behind me. There's some building work. I hope the sound is still okay. So yeah, there was some barracks here. I'll show you the name of the little mews here. The old barrack yard. So that is why, actually, let's have a little look at the mews. Why not? So this is because there used to be military barracks. That's why they've named the pub the Grenadier. And what happened in the pub, the date is unknown, but my guess is about 1820, because I know it was after the Battle of Waterloo. The Duke of Wellington would have taken his men to Waterloo. And it would have been before 1832, because that's when the barracks moved to Buckingham Palace. Well, 300 yards from Buckingham Palace. How did Belgravia get its name? Oh, that's interesting, Mark. I believe it's because of the Duke of Westminster. I think they had a mansion near Cheshire called Belgrave. But don't quote me on that. Double check. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's because of one of their mansion up north. Yeah. So that's one of those little private mews. Really cute, lovely place to live. And I'm going to turn around to go back to the pub. Yes, hidden gem, absolutely, yeah. So what happened in the pub? Again, we're not sure which year, but we know the months. It would have been in September, because that's when they get the ghost sighting. It's mainly in September. One of the guards, his name was Cedric. Well, we don't actually know if his name was actually Cedric or if they've just nicknamed the ghost Cedric. But he would have been playing cards with the other guards in the basement. They were gambling in the pub. Often they would even sleep in the rooms above the pub. Sometimes, apparently, the Duke of Wellington himself visited the pub. And he was, they would have been playing cards in the basement, and Cedric cheated. He got caught, and because he cheated, obviously he lost, and he didn't have enough money to pay for the debts, so they've beaten him to death. They literally killed him, and since that day, the pub is meant to be haunted by its ghost. It has the reputation to be the most haunted in England because of the number of accounts. It's crazy. So many people have had some weird experiences inside. A lot of the staff, a lot of even journalists, even a police officer. Once a police officer was having a drink just outside, and suddenly is surrounded by some kind of smoke, like cigarette smoke. So he popped his hands up to like push the smoke away, and he would have felt like a burn, like a cigarette burn, and there was no cigarette anywhere. In the basement as well, a lot of the staff have had some very chill sensation and pinching in the back, and some of them have even seen a silhouette, like a tall guy. This is a famous selfie spot as well inside the little, how do you call them, sandry. So that's the little shelters for the guards. You know, when they're guarding the royal palaces, they would stand in those shelters when it's raining, because the Queen's Guard, you know, they've got those big hats. It's real bear skin, by the way, from Canada, but apparently it's only bears that would have been killed on the road. They don't kill the bears for the skin. But those hats, they weigh about 2 kilograms when they're dry. So when they get wet, they might be really, really heavy. That's why they've got those little shelters. The Queen's Guard, by the way, they do not stand for hours, and they stand for like 2 hours, but they move every 10 minutes. They go like 10 meters and come back. So it's not that hard. And then they would have 4 hours break and then do another 2 hours. So it's not, you know, they're not standing there all day, as some people imagine. It is true, though, that they're not allowed to talk. Well, they are allowed to express themselves in case of emergency or anything. But if you go to them and you ask them, what are you having for dinner? If they say fish and chips, they're in trouble. Super. Let's go in, guys. I really wanted to show you inside because of the ghost, what they've done. So the ghost has been seen for many years, since Victorian times. And let's go in. Hello, me again. I'm just coming to show the ceiling I asked earlier. Yeah, there we go. So that's what happened here. To pay for the debts from the ghost, Cedric, they started to put notes on the ceilings. So it has been, since the late 1800s, apparently, people can come here and put some money. So you have a lot of currency from everywhere. And so if you do come to the pub one day, you can put a little note. That's to pay from the debts from Cedric, to stop the ghost, or to try to. It doesn't really work. I'm just going to show you the next room. Again, more notes. They are everywhere. Oh, you want to read one, Trish? Look at this. That's quite amazing. So that's a very lovely little pub. And it's all wooden, so, you know, sometimes the wood might crackle and you might think it's the ghost. So Vignon Blanc for you. Okay, I'll have an IPA, guys. So yeah, I think nowadays the world is becoming a cashless society. So there might be less people putting notes anymore, but those are here to stay. And apparently it doesn't stop the ghost. He's still coming. They had a little exorcism and stuff. They do some ghost tours sometimes. Cute. Are you going to put a collar on the ceiling? Cute. Careful. Whoa. Found the shaky stool. Cool. Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to go outside.